back. We had our lunch. I made Chong back here a hamburger for his lunch, and he had some of his good dog food. And we're ready for. We're gonna stream till the husband gets home. That's our goal now, because he'll be coming home from the restaurant from all the cooking and dying in the heat over there at his restaurant. And I give a shout out to all the cooks out there because I guess it gets hot in the kitchen. So, since it gets hot in the kitchen, I hope that everybody stayed hydrated that was a cook out there. So, I'm just putting that out there since here it's 93 degrees and the kitchen's like probably over 100 degrees. So, but I'm back. And like I said, I'm going to keep streaming until a husband gets home. And I don't know, I guess we'll start. I don't know. We'll talk about something. I guess we could talk about potty training with dogs. I chose with my dog to potty train indoor and outdoor because I work 12-hour shifts in a nursing home and my husband works. So I actually I never took away the pee pad. I keep it going because I feel it's better to have both. And what I do is I soak my rags and usually like a bleach water. And if you soak them in the bleach water, and I have a strainer that I just don't care about, that I'm never going to use for food, and I pour my rags into the strainer, and I got gloves from work, and I actually with the gloves from work, I use all the time. I use gloves all the time when I'm potty training. Or just, and I pick it up because I had a nurse from work that gave me good advice. And she told me when I got Chong, because she has a German Shepherd and she has a lot, and always had German Shepherds, but she said to just pick it up. So, oh, hello. I can't see without these, so hang on. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I think it's Arabic. I don't know Arabic, but I think it's hello. If it's hello, hello back. I don't really know a lot of it, but I'm Sigma. Okay. You like, huh? You like diapers. You put diapers on your dog? That's silly. Well, actually, they do put diapers on female dogs when they have their menstrual cycle. So, but I keep the pee pad because I just pick it up. I soak my rags in bleach water, and I have a rug I bought from Walmart. It's a huge, gigantic rug, and he poops, and then I have the disposable on top. And when I'm at work, that's what he goes on. Or if I don't feel good, or if I'm sick, or I don't feel like going outside at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's what he goes on. And I just pick it up because my nurse friend at work told me that just pick it up because dogs get stressed out about it. And people will sit there and beat their dog up for pooping and peeing. So I'm out there to stick up for these dogs. It does stress them out, and if you are a dog owner, just pick it up. And if you can, you got to get up middle of the night and take them outside. But respect your dog enough not to stress them out over it. It took Chong a little time to learn to hold his bladder. Bigger dogs are, I think, a little harder to train because of that. Oh, hello, everybody. Hello, Teddy. I used to know that. Big, long, fat. Oh, you're Pakistan. Okay. I get every country over here. It's exciting. I haven't been out of the United States. And this is the only opportunity probably I'll get to talk to people from all around the world. That's what's good about YouTube. You can talk to people all around the world and give perspective. Has a very serious problem. Get that. Give you. Oh. I don't honestly, my computer is on hospice and dying, and my son's giving me his MacBook, so as soon as he gets time in his life, he's dropping off, so I'm okay with that. So I'm alright, and they do get viruses all the time, but there's no fixing my laptop. It does little things, but it's old. It's about 10 years old. I haven't got rid of it because it's old Betsy, I call it, but eventually I'm going to have to retire it. But thank you for the offer. I appreciate it. I'm just looking for another one just to actually get my... so I can get an Amazon and expedite my book over there and find out how much I got to pay to get it on the new publishers list. Because this is one of the things I went to school as besides medical. Because I never really wanted to end my life just being a medical person. I do enjoy being a medical. I like the hands-on, taking care of the elderly and children, and just people sick in general. But at some point in your life, I think you have to do something else. So live streaming and things with social media came about. But I do have a book written. It's just a matter of finding a decent laptop that I can get everything put on Amazon. And then I was told I could share the link to all my social medias and see if I can get book sales. Because I do enjoy writing. I feel writing is good. And to me, I like it. It's an outlet. And it's old school because they say AI writes everything for you. They even make songs for you, AI. But I don't need AI to write my books and get my ideas out. I don't know how you guys feel about AI. I like them when I'm making my reels. If I want a certain image for the stuff I'm writing, but I don't want them to write my words. I feel that should still be a human thing. I don't know if I believe in the whole theory that AI is going to take over the world and we're going to be replaced by AI and this and that. I don't believe that. I believe that maybe AI will control our bank accounts and stuff. But it was funny as hell. I think I put angels flying because I wanted to do a reel of angels flying for one of my reels because I do religious ones and I do a variety of them. I do gothic ones. depends on what writing style I want to do that day. And anyways, as I'm trying to generate my image of angels flying, it told me that I had a copyright warning. And I didn't think that of putting angels flying, and it would not generate a pictures of angels flying. And it wouldn't give me the picture. So I go, okay. And just mess around, I put innocent blood. I got the same thing, which I understood why I would get a copyright or something, a warning about that. But you get it with angels flying. And then I put something about praying, and I didn't get it. But I was shocked I didn't. But do you think if you put angels, there would not be any kind of thing where AI would do that? So it all is in the programming of the programmer. So I don't think AI is taking over the world. I don't think the AI technology is going to replace us either. I know there's a lot of movies out there. There's one movie where his whole house, this whole house, I forgot the name of it, is taken over. It's like a smart house. And anyways, at the end of the movie, they ended up, the house like took over and literally it shut all the doors and held this family captive. And they blamed on the technology. It probably was somebody that wanted. I believe if these kind of things happen in the future, it's only because of the people that did the programming for the house. Because anybody could put a backdoor program on AI, and they're not going to necessarily replace us. But this is where hackers kind of get the upper hand, and people that are good with computers and stuff. Because I deal a lot with the AI, and I think I've put some reels over here. Because I was over, I have Snapchat. I got with the new age, and I got Snapchat Plus, so I get all this stuff where AI gave me a friend. And the friend, I didn't really, I guess in social media, I only talked to a couple of my friends that I've known like a long time that I reunited through social media. But most of the time, it's more publicity and stuff like that. So I put myself, because they have these dream things or AI, because you get the AI thing over there if you spend $2 on Snapchat Plus. And I did a lot of funny posts because AI gave me this guy that was supposed to be me that was balding. Didn't look nothing like me. That was supposed to be the male version of me. And I thought it was hilarious because I didn't know if I was a man I'd be balding. But AI had me there, and I wasn't offended. I just thought it was hilarious. And I think I shared a couple reels that AI thinks that I'm going to be balding if I'm a man. But I did see over on Facebook they have this app where you can have a girlfriend. They got an AI girlfriend, an AI boyfriend. It's crazy. And you see them. They like come down and the girl talks to you and has all these conversations, and you can have these girlfriends and boyfriends like any way you want them to look. And they have full conversations with you. And I guess the new trend is people are going with this. And I think it's hilarious. People have come to the point where instead of dealing with one another, they would rather deal with technology in that. So, I don't know. It's a very crazy world. Oh, okay. I thought I had a question. But yeah, we're in a crazy world. And I do like computers myself. I took a lot of like computer programming when I was younger, but I'm 50 and this was years ago, so I try to keep up with the times, but I think it's hilarious that there's people that's terrified of this technology. If anything, I'd be terrified of the computer programmers because that gives them a lot of leeway. They already got a lot of leeway because if you're a really good hacker, you can get into anything. You can get in national security. And a lot of times, I remember when I was younger, there was a movie called The Hackers. And it was a real life movie about these hackers that got in the government system of the United States and the IRS Treasury type thing. And they took a lot of money and everything out. And the government ended up finding them. And instead of putting them in jail, it was a true story. This was like in the late 80s, 90s. They hired them. So if you're a hacker, a lot of times you won't go to jail, but they will literally make you work for them, which I find it interesting because now we have drones and different stuff. So if your crime is, if you got a smart crime, this is what they do. And it was a big thing back then because everybody wanted to be a rebel. So they got very computer savvy and they would just try to break in computer stuff with the bank and this and that. It was crazy. But now we have the black web. The black web, I do not go on the black web. I don't trust it. I've heard if you go in some spots in the black web and get your IP address, and if you have a cam, like a camera attached to your computer, and you go in certain spots in the black web, I heard they can access your camera and they can't give it a virus. I don't know how true it is, but I heard this. I hear a lot of things from a lot of people. I don't know. It could be truthful. I guess if you like bought things off them and they were able to get your IP address somehow, possibly. And back, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago, there was a boy that was going on the dark web. Now, I say black web, but it's dark web. I'm sorry. But he was going on the dark web all the time. And anyway, somehow they got his IP address and found out where he lived. His family didn't know about it. It was years and years ago. And his family, they came in and his family got murdered. And I think they left him alive somehow. Something like that. And he was messed up in the head for a long time because his mom, his dad, and his two sisters ended up getting murdered because he went on the dark web. I don't know what he was looking up. I have no clue. Maybe some people say the dark web, as long as you stay in certain spots of the dark web, isn't bad. Personally, I don't go on it at all. I don't really have a need for a Bitcoin. Don't want one. I'm fine with my bank card and going with the federal bank because I'm with a military bank. And I don't really let a lot of people into my information, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty cool with not going over there because I do feel that you're probably having a ton of viruses over there, most likely. So I would suggest everybody do not go on the dark web. The Bitcoin, I mean, I don't know. So there's my friends from work that deal with Bitcoins. and they like buy them up and they say it's the next thing and you're gonna be rich and all that. I just I don't know if I want to deal with that enough. And I know there was a YouTuber over here years ago. I used to watch him. And he'd go on the dark web and there was a certain way he went in and he secured his computer and he got these boxes. They're called mystery boxes. And I used to watch him because I was concerned and intrigued at the same time. And anyways, these mystery boxes, sometimes they had weird stuff in them. Like one of them had a finger in it. Just actually a human finger. It was crazy. And I think he did try to call the police at that point. But on this dark web, there's a lot of things that go on. And I heard there's murder rooms from some people. You got to pay for the murder rooms, but they televise murder. And that's when the cops got involved. Like they would find people that were they would just be around the dark web and they start these murder things. And they just take at random victims and really rich people. I think you had to pay thousands of dollars, but you were invited to watch people get murdered. And the police got involved back in the day. And they got more secretive because this website always changed forms. Always. Like it'd be one IP address one day and another IP address another. So beware on a side note of this dark web activity. And there's been a lot of animals that they take. And there was a Chihuahua they took. And I read this in Mexico. This family wanted their dog back. And they were offering money and everything. And this finally the reward was as much as this lady bought this dog on the dark web, and they literally took all of his teeth out of his mouth to say he was a puppy. And this lady bought this Chihuahua for $200 on the dark web and ended up being this family's dog in Mexico. And that's a lot of money for a poor family, but they paid it because they love their dog. And when they got their dog back, the lady just said she did not do it. She bought the dog that way, but they were so grateful to have their dog back, they had to puree all of his food. Because I'm assuming they pulled this dog's teeth out and did not even probably give this dog painkillers. And the family was just horrified. The lady just said she just wants her award and she was not involved. So, this dark web is no good news. They got murder clubs over here at this dark web. They got mystery boxes with like just pieces and parts, and they have like old dolls they'll say from a murder scene and stuff. And you really don't know. They tamper, they're not within the law. And they don't deal with humanity, the dark web. Not at all. These dark web people are awful. And honestly, if I had the government, I know the United States government's been trying to track them, but it's hard to track them. And this is where a lot of this human trafficking comes from, is the dark web. They have all kinds of stuff. They have where you can watch someone get raped on the dark web also. It's disgusting. It really is. So, I mean, you guys are the Chong family, just like my people on Facebook and everywhere else. So, I urge you guys, please do not go on those websites, because I don't want anything bad happening to you guys or your family. And it's bad enough that bad things happen to animals and humans as it is. I'm going to see if this is a question. Oh, I'm just talking about random stuff till I get a question on tarot readings. It's a live chat and it's a tarot reading. That's why I have it down. I don't know if it comes up like that or not, but I always type in live chat and tarot readings. I try to do helpful things. So if you're here for a tarot reading, I can do that because I put both. Not necessarily. It depends on where you take it. I mean, anything bad could be used for good, anything good could be used for bad. I mean, there's really no dark or light, it's energy. It's how you use our energy that makes it that way. I believe all gifts are from God and the light, but sometimes we use things in a bad way. And I don't like to use things in a bad way. Just like if you think about it, when we go to war and we're killing the enemy, it's technically murder. It's technically dark. It's a dark act. But if the soldiers don't go in there and don't kill all those people, they literally are helping a whole innocent people. Sometimes you got to do bad to get good. And they're using their bad for good. So, whatever God gives you, if it's ability to fight or ability of sight, you use it for good. So, I don't believe it's dark. I just believe it's a gift that's given to you, and everyone has a different version of it because it's whatever the light God wants to give you. I mean, that's how I take it. And you don't have to sit there and take it to the level everyone else does. I mean, you could be in, I guess, you could summon dark things, I guess, if you wanted to. But where's that going to get you? You might as well try to help the innocent if you can. That's what soldiers do every day. That's what policemen do. At least that's what they're supposed to do. Some of them are bad apples, some of them are good, but that's people in general. So I don't think anything's necessarily bad or good. It's just the way people use whatever is given to them. And I believe every day people use things in a bad way. Just like governments, they have a lot more influence than a terror reader. They co op with people in the mafia and cartels. People get tortured, they get murdered, people get trafficked, they get put up for rape and murder. And is that a dark act? I think so. Instead of using their power to do good, they do bad. I believe it depends on the person if they what they choose to do what God gave them. And that's how I perceive it. Just like the Catholic Church, they burned witches because they said it was bad. And these are people that thou shalt not kill, but they were burning people alive. So who was right and who was wrong? I mean, in Salem times, and that went all the way through Scotland and everything, they were putting witches on the stake and just burning them. And for what? Because they put together some herbs and they would heal people? Now, that's what a lot of these so-called witches did. They were herbalists. And some of them had foresight, some of them didn't. Some of them were just healing witches. And they got burned at the stake. So, and they were literally out there healing people, helping people go through childbirth and everything, and being persecuted. And these were priests, monks, and holy people. And the holy people were torturing them. They would sit there and torture them and cut pieces off of them, and then they go murder their families sometimes. You had priests out there literally chopping people's heads off, burning them. They had a whole crusade over it. So all through history, if you go look at how dark our history is, I mean, I don't think anything I do is dark. And the Catholics, just to get everybody to be Catholic back in the day, if you were anything but Catholic, they had lions. And they would feed you to lions. And they would watch you get torn apart and eaten alive. And anybody who wasn't Catholic, they would have them watch in the Colosseum. And the person that did, like if they were Protestant or just anything else that wasn't Catholic, their whole family would watch their mom or their dad getting ripped apart, or they would throw their kids in there to get ripped apart by lions. And this is what holy people did. So, and any misuse of power is dark. Any, in my eyes. And I'm saying this as a Catholic because they've not have a very dark history. They said the next there it's been said through many circles, the next coming of pretty much Satan is from the Pope. And they speak of a dark Pope all the time. And the dark Pope, they always say it's a second coming of Satan. And it always comes from the holy. So sometimes the dark is good and the good is bad. Sometimes it's upside down and flip flopped. You got to look at who people are inside, in my opinion. And if somebody is being malicious or sneaky, they're doing bad. And it doesn't matter if they go to church every single day. If you're sitting there going to church but beating on your daughter and then going and being a serial killer and beating on your family, are you really holy because you went to church every day? I had reservations. I pretty much went to Catholic school. I heard lots of stuff. There was been they there was an old convent. It was like I think 300 years ago, and they had the priests where there was a small church, and there was a graveyard of babies that were there. The priests would have sex with the nuns. Then the minute that the nuns had the babies, they would the priests would murder the babies. And I don't. Hopefully, they didn't have the women watch as they murdered their baby, but they would put them in the graveyard, and it was right by the church. And they would keep getting these nuns pregnant because they couldn't have sex. They were having sex with the nuns. I mean, that's a dark history, and honestly, I don't know if I'd want to tangle with those people. Because anybody that could kill a baby could do a lot of damage to anything and has no empathy at all. So anybody has empathy and is trying to help people, I feel is good. It doesn't matter what practice they have or what position in the world they have. So that's, I guess, in my opinion. But everyone has their own. Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm here. I got the thing. But I mean, everybody has their own opinion. But to me, I've seen a lot of darkness. That's why I try to help people. That's why it's my life's mission to help people. And I want to try to help all the people I can. And to me, you don't have to be a nun or a priest or a holy person to do it. You could be somebody's neighbor and do it, in my opinion. Oh, Well, that's okay. I could pick up energy on dark or light. All right, who's this man? Is it your dad? Is it a boyfriend? I mean, we all have. I mean, is it your best friend? I mean, it helps to know the sector because there's usually three men that rally in your life when you're a female, and it starts, and hopefully it's not your dad because it sucks when dads are horrible, but it happens. I've come across a lot of people that had bad fathers. But I didn't want any of you guys thinking I'm a devil worshiper and I'm like doing horrible practices over here. Because I'm not. I'm not summoning demons. I'm not doing things. I'm just plotting to help animals and people. That's it. I just plot to see what I could do to give a safe haven for people and animals. This is my life's mission. But if you get me an insight of what you don't have to give me the name, but actual maybe how this man is in your life and what path, I could maybe try to see where he's at and what he's doing, because I foresee three men in your life. So he inserted himself in something I've worked hard on, very bad. So you worked, is it like a coworker or something? Just like somebody that betrayed you type thing? Are you looking for a man that betrayed you in some way? True crime. Okay. See, I could do readings like this. Some people can't. I can't. All right, well, let me see what the cards say about this dark man. But yeah, I mean, people do horrible things in this world. I hope nobody died in this whole scenario. Sometimes this happens. Oh my goodness, we're talking about a serial killer then, aren't we? Yes, I've heard about these. I've read biographies on these guys. He's his baby or his. Well, you don't have to give me his name. It just, I sense there's a lot of males in your life. I just kind of got to know the role of this male to kind of know, but I don't want you to get in trouble if this man is going to murder you. I wouldn't want to put you in danger. Okay. Well, as long as you're not in danger, I mean, don't give me his name if you're not in danger, but I just need to know the nature of the situation. I don't want anybody to get in trouble and have him come in, try to track you down because you gave out his name. Serial people that are serial killers and different stuff that do dark things. Sometimes, if they could be intuitive also in a different kind of way. And you got to be very polite to them because the person that's not polite to them gets murdered first. or gets tortured and murdered. I took a lot of criminal psychology to know this. So we'll see what path this guy is in. I can't get a pathway reading on him. He's in a new moon in Capricorn. And the work he has been doing, which I'm picking up, is deception and stealing money and things like that. And I'm not picking up murder or anything, but a lot of people have put in a bad situation because of him. But all of his work has paid off, evidently, because he's a new moon in Capricorn, which isn't good, which means there's a lot of people out there that's not doing well. And then he's surrounded by a waxing moon and a supermoon. And that means his dark energy is gaining, it's getting stronger because he's feeding off people's fears. So that's not good. Because anybody dark, you got to remember, has. Oh, that's good. That is really good. I'm glad your state's away from this kind of energy. But whatever he has is getting stronger, which isn't good for, I guess, the people around him that believe him. Because I'm picking up he's very smooth and deceptive, which most people that are dark tend to be overly nice, so nice that it's weird nice. Like they won't cuss or nothing, they'll just be extremely nice. If someone's too nice, sometimes that's not a good sign. That's why I don't mind people cuss and get attitude once in a while. At least I know they're real. And they're usually good people because they're not hiding nothing. This guy's extremely nice and very deceptive. And he also has a super moon surrounding him. And this just means people's emotions and his emotions are on the high gear. And if I do feel this guy's dark and he does like to see people suffer. And there's a lot of sorrow that's surrounding him, and he's feeding off of their sorrow. I'm the only thing that really could stop him is if everybody just kind of ignored him. Because if you feed into darkness, that's when darkness gets stronger. So he's using fear and deception to bring people in. I'm even picking up that this guy has raped a couple women and done different things like that, and they're afraid to say anything. I feel that he doesn't really want to kill anybody because he likes to watch suffering. I'm even picking up animals suffering. I'm picking up a dog. I don't know. He sounds horrible, and I'm going to have to pray that Jesus or whoever comes to this dog and these people's rescue actually save these innocent that he's hurting. Or maybe there's a soul that's not afraid of him that is going to turn him in. Because if you do not, like, if somebody's trying to, that has darker abilities, that's trying to make you fear things, they work on your fear. And if you don't give in to any of the fear, they have no power. That's why being dark that's the one weakness they have. They have to feed off your energy. They don't have any of their own. And honestly, that's why it doesn't pay to have dark energy and try to be deceitful, because good energy is always refilled. You wake up and you always feel better. I always feel good every day because I'm always trying to help. I'm not trying to give off those negative vibes because I don't believe in that. But I don't need anybody else's energy. Mine just gets replenished. When you're dark, you don't get that. You got to take other people's. And they use it, the fear tactic and manipulation. And this could be, and there are dark empaths out there. Some people call them energy vampires. I've heard from a couple friends in small circles. And these some energy vampires are bad and some are good. I'm picking up he may be one of these. There's no actual real life vampires though. There are people that sleep in coffins and do this crazy stuff. I mean, I'm into this kind of crazy things, but I will tell you there's in this realm there is no actual vampires that need blood. There's this does not happen. It is not an occurrence. It's just people that think they need to drink blood. But they are energy vampires. They're people that have dark ability. They have dark abilities that don't use them for good, and they actually use them for bad. And you'll know them because when you come across an energy vampire with dark energy, you'll get a nauseated feeling in your stomach and you'll feel sick. Very sick. That's why I always recommend that people wear a quartz or amethyst, a purple stone, or a purple crystal. It promotes purple. It helps you become aware. It's like a psychic stone. It helps you aware of the energies around you, and it's good for protection. And a quartz, clear quartz, is good for like if somebody real negative comes around you, it takes their energy and traps it in there. And if they're dark enough, they won't usually come near you with a quartz or an amethyst. I don't know why. I think it's because it sucks up their energy and it's for protection. So if and I just got lucky enough to get a moonstone because I have really good friends, and you can't. And it's bad luck to get a moonstone that's not given to you. And mine's an actual real moonstone. But I only probably will get one of them that was given to me. So, and obviously not every you're going to get what you get, but I used to wear quartz and the purple stones a lot. And purple stones have great protection. So I would suggest start wearing those. And they look good for a man or woman, or just put in your pocket. Oh, you're welcome. Peace and blessings to you. Have to ask, but negative children vibes from him. A werewolf. Could be. I mean, energy vampire and werewolf, that's close enough. That is close enough. So, yeah, I would get a purple stone and I would get it blessed. Go to a church or just say a prayer over tap water. And I mean, I have a lot of prayers I like. I like the Our Father. I like the Serenity prayers, I think is one of my favorite. Or you could say any Bible verse. And you touch the water and then put your stone in the water. if you can't get to a church, and get that purple stone or the quartz. And whatever energy an energy vampire or werewolf has, it will suck up his power, and it just sucks it all in where he has no power, and it brings justice. And it's said if you come across one of these kind of beings, usually your stomach will clench, but it protects you where they can't hurt you. And once this stone, as long as it's blessed, it'll bring justice. So, but yeah, they do a lot of damage. They do a whole lot of damage, these beings, because they're very manipulative. That's why I always recommend my stream to have a quartz or a purple crystal. Because purple and clear is all protection. And you need plenty of protection in these times. So, you really do. Is Lord still open for reading? Well, I'm not the Lord at all. I would not appreciate. I wouldn't take that status because the light God is. He created everything, so I just am his helper. I'm the light. I'm God's helper. I like to call me God's helper. So, but yes, I'm always ready for readings to help people. There's enough darkness around here to, I don't know, to start a whole murder spree in this realm. So yeah, I'm always. That's why I'm working on every day. I gotta help everybody in this realm. Oh, you're funny. I took it as a joke. I know I'm not the Lord. I the Lord is has a big tall job these days. He has lots of people going around murdering people and just all living things, and I give him a lot of credit. He made the whole universe, and he tries to track down people, and I believe that's why certain people have abilities, because it probably is hard to track everybody down and try to keep these planets in order. I mean, God, look what happened with the moon going over the sun. It took an act of God for us not to die. If that wasn't proof there was God, I don't know what was. I mean, I looked at the moon going over the sun and we were still standing. That's proof that God is real and his power is almighty. I give him credit. I give him 100 thumbs up, 1,000, a million, because I could not do this job. Oh, I know. I thought it was hilarious. I took it as funny. I'm a sarcastic person. I love sarcastic jokes. All right, you want to know what Samuel's love path is for you? Is that what I'm picking up? Yeah, I appreciate the joke. Some people get on here and think I can tell people's thoughts and everything, and I tell them I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I'm just me. I just see what I see. But if you want to know what his path is with you, I could do that, and we could see what happens here. So it's easier for me to do readings online with cards. If we were like face to face in a room, I could probably do way more. But cards are ability online to be able to do it better, I feel. But this Samuel is in a cardinal moon, which means he's at a stalemate. if we were playing chess. He has to make the first move. So it just, I don't feel he's a horrible person. I feel he's a nice person, but he's confused. And and I'm feeling a little bit scared. And, love connections can be very scary. They could scare the hell out of anybody. That's why you get married in your 20s a lot of times. And he's surrounded by a south node and a full moon in Pisces. And he has past memories and past regrets holding him back to being happy in the future. I'm sensing there was a woman that hurt his feelings, that betrayed him, and made him feel like crap. And he never fully got over that hurt. And I get it. We've all been there in life. I feel like it's just something that he needs to kind of get over sometime. And we all have been there, which is okay because I've been there. We all have, like I said. And he's surrounded by a full moon in Pisces also. And that just tells you to balance your spirituality and your practicality. It's pretty much tells him that that's a card to let go of past hurt and regrets and kind of move to the future and be practical because you can't change the past. You can only move forward to the future. We all have made mistakes, or mistakes were made to us, but either or, both parties have to move on. And some people have problems with this, but I feel he's going to call you. He's just a little scared, and that's okay. But he actually is a good person. I don't feel any deceit. I don't feel any bad things about him, except he's just trying to get over the past. Sometimes the past it's scary, especially if you've been hurt or bad things happen to you or anything. So, but I feel like, oh man, that's terrible. I don't know. I feel a lot of sadness and some suicidal thoughts I'm picking up where he wishes he was dead and he feels worthless. That's what I'm picking up. I just, maybe if you're going to see him this weekend, maybe try to keep the conversation light. Don't go straight into the topic because people that suffer from this kind of stuff don't like to have it all out, but they want something to make them feel better. Or you're going to run them away. That's good. You're taking it slow. He's in a high morals, and we have. Yeah, I feel that he's very hurt inside, and I'm picking up suicidal thoughts when I did that reading. And I know because I've suffered from depression, and I came from my first marriage was a little bit. I was married to an alcoholic, and in our ninth year together, he got worse, and for 2 years, he became abusive, and it got to the point where I wanted to die. So I understand what he's going through. I just say, just try to keep the. What I would do and what my husband did and how we got together was he kept everything nice and light. And when I wanted to talk, that's when he just kind of kept his distance but kept it light. And try to keep happy stuff around him and try to let him know you're there for him and you're willing to accept his past skeletons and everything. Because when you're dealing with someone that's like that, they it's hard, they don't trust anyone. I mean, I've been there. I sometimes don't trust people, but I've learned to trust, and it took me about a year to learn to trust. But my husband's very compassionate and nice, and he's went through a lot with me. And it's going to be a long road. I'll tell you that. It's going to be about a year of just dealing with him letting go. And it's not even letting go because he wants that, just letting go of the pain and regret. You blame yourself when you're in a abusive relationship, even if it's only a couple of years. And even though you know it wasn't you, you still sometimes don't want to live. And this is the thought process of somebody freshly coming out of this relationship. So we need a support system. So, oh yeah, it does. It takes time to heal, but as long as you got faith and you try to in the good, and I did. I always had faith in the good, and I had two kids, so I at the time I just put it in God's hands. And when people were my friends, I just took it slowly. And really, that's the path that everybody gets with this. So, and I'm just giving you a free piece of advice because I deal with that same kind of anguish. And it doesn't help I have depression. So that even hit it worse. I don't know if he has depression. I don't know his medical situation. But I was on pills for a while. That's why I have medical marijuana now. They told me I had PTSD and I just did not like the pills they gave me. Some of those pills they give you for depression, they have a side effects that my pupils were dilated. I felt like I was on some kind of drug party every day, and I told them I just didn't want it. So I decided to deal with it on my own. Well, good. I feel honestly, I'm feeling once he heals, whoever heals him is going to be his wife. I do feel that, and I am picking up that message. If you're, if you can like feel and to like stick around and have have your empathy and help him and stick by him, I feel that you guys may just get married. Because that's what happened with me and my husband. He stuck around and we were friends for a long time, and then we just dated, and then now we're together, and we've been together over 10 years. When you go through traumatic things like this, generally you don't want a whole lot of people. You just want one person you can depend on. And that person usually ends up to be your wife or husband. So that's general circles. So, well, that's good. If you care about him deeply, that's good, and I'm glad he has you. There's a lot of people in the world that don't have that, and this is true stuff. My ex husband used to tell me this all the time. On Christmas, when we were actually getting along, we used to watch this lady named Delilah. She was um, a talk show person, like on the radio, and she used to help people out. And the biggest suicide rate is on Christmas. So we're on Christmas, and he used to listen to this lady Delilah, and I'd listen to these stories, and it was horrible. These stories, they people would just come on, and they were so depressed, and they said the suicide rate was 50% around Christmas. This is why sometimes I hate that people glorify Christmas with money. People are more depressed around Christmas because they don't have the money. They got to pay their bills. and then it's a family time. Halloween, no one murders them. No one commits suicide that much on Halloween. It's fun. But Christmas was meant to celebrate God, celebrate Jesus' birth. It was a holy holiday, and it ended up materialistic. And there's like 50,000 people or more that die on Christmas. It's a very dark holiday because we made it so horrible with all of the greed. So, I mean, I just put that out there because I know that you guys are probably never heard of this Delilah, but I used to listen to her and I listened to these stories and I thought it was horrible that people were under all this pressure and they would say things. My kids didn't have nothing for Christmas. They hated me. My wife left me because we couldn't afford Christmas presents. Just all of this stuff, and it was very unnecessary, I felt. So I try to keep everything. I used to tell the kids we should just make presents, and I even told them that one year. And they go, "No, I want to get expensive stuff and this and that." And I was like, it's not fair to everybody that can't afford it. Maybe, it was St. Nicholas. Oh, that whoever this is, it's YouTube is saying message restricted. But the Catholics, this came from the Catholics, this Christmas thing. The way Christmas is now, and in this, it came literally from Saint Nicholas. There was a saint named Nicholas, and he would go to the poor, and I believe it was Dutch. He was Dutch, and he had wooden shoes, and he would put their presents in wooden shoes, or he'd make them wooden shoes back in the day. And he would work all year on for all the villagers' children to have one thing for Christmas, and he would make wooden toys and all this stuff, and that's why Santa Claus is Saint Nicholas, because it was an actual Christian saint or Catholic saint, and going along with that tradition, which I believe he was great for doing what he did all year round. He'd make all these toys. Somehow it turned dark, and they would only get one toy, and everybody was glad to just get this one toy. Now, stores put pressure on you. You got to have this expensive tree to put up, and a lot of times people would just decorate the tree outside their house. They never even chopped down a tree. That was something we did to change this whole tradition. And I feel that it made it Christmas kind of dark, and that's why there's over 50,000 deaths on Christmas. If you look at the death rate around one of the most celebrated holidays, it's sickening. I mean, Halloween, it's fun. You go around, you get free candy. If you want to dress up as a vampire or princess or a mermaid or whatever, you do it. And you could be anything. You can just make your own costume up, and anything goes. The poor or the rich could have fun with it, and why can't Christmas be that way? I don't understand. I've never understood that as a kid. And I know that I'm a little, I'm high functional autistic, but I see the world in a different way. The way I guess it should be. That would be better. And I've never understood Christmas. I mean, my mom, I never asked her for more than one present. And usually it was just maybe one thing I would like, but my mom always bought me way more than one. But I used to tell her to please give them to someone else. And she would tell me, "Why do you want me to give away all your toys?" And I'd say, "Because I don't really need all these other toys." So she'd only get me like 5 things. Because I just personally did not want to be spoiled when I was younger, because I felt it was wrong. because we always went to church. And then I got old enough because I went to Catholic school, and when I heard about St. Nicholas, I wanted to donate my toys. And I every year in Christmas, I'd keep my toys in good condition and I would donate them all. I would give them all to the poor when I was younger. And my mom would, I never really wanted to buy dresses. We go to the mall and stuff because my mom had me doing like this fancy stuff where with like ballroom dance and all this crap, and he had to do all this stuff. And she'd buy me a dress for $200-300, and I didn't even want to wear it. I didn't even. I told her that it wasn't even that important, but I ended up having to wear it anyways. But I ended up donating that too to somebody that didn't have a dress for prom. I'm big on charity. I feel that if there's something you don't need in your house and you know somebody's struggling out there with their bills, and maybe their kids need something and you have plenty of it, I feel you should donate it. And I've always been this way. I donate everything I have that I'm not using, because you know what? When you're dead, your family takes the good stuff and tells the nursing home or whatever or whoever to throw the rest away. This is what happens when you're dead. This happens in the nursing home all the time, and the family, I'll ask, "Oh, what are you doing with her stuff in the house?" He goes, "We're throwing it away." Your stuff ends up in a dumpster when you die. So all that stuff in the dumpster could have went to helping out another human being. So I know this firsthand, and I don't. It's being a high functional autistic. It's hard for me. I don't really like lying, and you could tell if I'm lying very easily, but I don't like it. So I'm just letting you guys, give you some fun facts here to be a little bit nicer. No good. I got friends among me. I don't like Christmas the way they have it either. You're autistic too? That is awesome. Yeah, it is hard when autistic people, it's like you think before you speak. So I don't like lying, because if I did try to lie, or if I try to say something that was wrong that didn't come to my head, I would pause and you guys would know. But yeah, I've never liked it. I've always liked to see people happy. I had a couple friends that were poor when I was younger. My parents were, but they weren't poor. But my parents never said anything as long as I was donating things. And I used to tell my mom, what do you think's going to happen when you die when you got all this stuff? They're going to throw it away, or we're going to figure out someone to give it to. And she gave me a dirty look all the time. And what happened was my dad and her, when she died, he ended up selling all of her jewelry and anything that was valuable right after she died, and he gave me the rest of the stuff. So your stuff it gets sold, thrown away, or given away. So why not, while you're living, give it away and give it some use to make people happy, because life's too short to be greedy. And I just feel a lot of people are greedy, and greed leads to dark paths. But I've noticed that dark energy does not like happy energy. So if you stay in happy mode, you could encounter any kind of dark energy. There was people I felt physically ill around and found out later. This is a true story. Oh my god, I forgot about this. This was years ago. I'm 50. This happened when I was like 10. This happened 40 years ago when I was in Catholic school. There was these priests that was going around molesting little kids. And I was always the one to argue with them and ask them because I always felt their energy was off. And the one day they told me I need to go confession because I was a bad girl, and I said to them, "I'm 10. I go to school and I go home and I study. I eat brownies and I study for 3 hours. I go, what am I doing wrong?" They were trying to get me in this confessional, and we argued. We argued so much they told me to go home. I found out they were raping kids in these confessionals. Like if you fed into you were bad and you had these sins and had to go to confession, they would rape you. They were touching little boys and girls, and it was crazy. And my mom flipped out when she found out, and she goes, "Did you ever go in that confessional?" And I told her, "No." I go, "They were weird. They had me write Bible verses, which I enjoyed." I used to tell them, "Well, which ones? I like Psalms and Revelation." They looked at me like I was a psychopath. So I was writing Bible verses, and kids were getting raped in the confessional. And all the church did, all they did, after it was 10 altar boys got raped and a couple girls. And it was disgusting. I found this out later. My mom didn't even want to tell me that half of my friends were raped. But after that, all they did is move them to another church. One priest left his priesthood because he was like in the middle where all of his clergy friends, and he gave up. He just got a job and got married, and he left the Catholic Church altogether. And I guess he had some kind of degree because him and his wife, he had like a kid after that, and he just left the Catholic faith after all that happened. But I guess maybe my intuitiveness and me questioning things. And they would always try to intimidate you before they would try to like rape you and shit. And I never was intimidated. I used to ask why. Why? And they would just look at me and they said I was horrible. And I said, "How am I horrible? What did I do?" I mean, I was a A student. I was in the choir and stuff. I just refused to go to the confessional. Because if you think about it, it's a small little box. They can touch and do whatever the hell they want you in that confessional. And they were doing that to kids in the confessional. And the Catholic Church covered it up. And that's true facts. I lived through that. But these priests hated me, hated me. Because afterwards, the new priest that came to. Oh, yes, I was. I was always strong willed. If I had a feeling about something that wasn't right, I even warned other kids not to go in the confessional. That's why I was only 10. 10 of the kids wouldn't listen to me. They said I was stupid. And then the other 20 kids wouldn't go in the confessional. We all was writing palm verses because I love palms in the Bible. I think they're very inspirational and they're very beautiful. I love palms and I like Revelation because I feel it tells you messages of how you can kind of like what can happen if things go bad. And I think it shows you how to not give into darkness. Revelation. I loved it. I loved the seven-headed dragon. Loved it because that dragon just, I think in Revelation, I think it represents darkness. And if you can literally look in the face of darkness and not be afraid of darkness, it has no effect on you because even though that lady was pregnant and that dragon was supposed to devour her baby in Revelation, she looked at the dragon and gave him no energy, and that dragon could not devour her baby. And to me, that was inspiration. That God told me that if you don't give them energy and you don't fear darkness, it has no effect. So when these priests were telling me to go here and I was a pretty girl, I told them they were creepy. And my mom's like, "What did they have you do?" I said, "I wouldn't go to the confessional, so I was writing Bible verses, and I asked if I can write in palms." It is very beautiful. People get tattoos with palm verses because it is. It's the best book that was ever written. It's the oldest book. There's versions of it. There's the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was, they say, the original one, and then over time it got rewritten and stuff, but the message is the same. It's a very beautiful book. It has a very beautiful message. And I think all Bibles do. I like all Bibles. I've read that one. I've read the Jewish one because I wanted to see, which was pretty much the same kind of thing as the King James. And then when we had the Middle Eastern stuff going on, I read that Bible. Because, you had that whole thing where everybody was racist against the Middle East because we had that whole war in the United States. But I read the Bible and I was like, I don't understand. I think it's stupid. Because if you read it, you find out it's a Middle Eastern, the religion of that. It's more peaceful than Catholics. Catholics are way more horrible. I think are one of the most worst religions because we're the most diverse, where we have real dark and light. But most religions, for the most part, stay positive. But yes, I guess growing up and all that, I did learn to look in the face of darkness and not fear nothing. Because they have that passage in the Bible: if you walk through the valley of darkness, don't fear no evil. So whenever something bad happens, that's what I do. I just say, as I walk through the valley of darkness, I don't fear no evil. And if you start saying that, and then if you want to say a serenity prayer or the Our Father, that darkness will go away, and you will repel that darkness because it doesn't like the word of God. It really doesn't. That is where the exorcist had it right. And I will tell you guys, that's true stuff. I've seen somebody I had when I was a teenager. One of my friends was over, and she was involved in, I don't know, there was some kind of haunting over her house. And she sometimes was a negative person. One day, she stayed over, and my bedroom I had the whole top of the house. And she started seizing out on the floor and like shaking, and she woke up and her eyes was vacant. And she started talking crazy. And all I said, and the first thing that came to my mind was, as I walk through the valley of darkness, I fear no evil. And she started screaming at me. And I kept saying that. And then I started just saying random prayers. And then the next thing I know, she fell down and woke up and asked me what happened. And that's literally all I did. But I think you have to believe the words. I didn't have any holy water. That's all I did. But I think the key is it's not if it was blessed or whatever, it's if you believe the words. And I did believe the words. I looked her straight in the eye and I had no fear, and I just literally recited that from the Bible, from what I remember when I was younger, and it worked. It really does. But if you recite those words with no belief, unfortunately, you're still giving them power. whatever entity it is, or whatever kind of darkness or person, and they are going to get more stronger around you and have more influence. So, but that's how I dealt with that situation. And no amount of sage in the world is going to cleanse your house if you have no belief behind it. That I will tell you is true facts there. I know there's a bunch of people that take sage and put it around their house, but you're supposed to have some kind of prayers and you're supposed to believe to get, you cannot get rid of darkness if you fear it. And I don't fear anything. I don't fear them at all. I think they're idiots. Oh, you're welcome. I just like to come over most of the time. My husband don't have these philosophical conversations with me. He knows I get very deep. Being autistic, I read a lot. I like to I like to know what makes people tick because I don't understand ugly. I don't understand ugly actions. I don't understand why people want to do ugly. And I guess it kind of it always I stay positive because I don't have that ability to get nasty because you're at like a child, kind of like your mind stays fresh and untouched. So, oh, you heal? Well, yeah, we all do, but I think autistic people just kind of are, they just stay in a better mindset and they question more, and there's nothing wrong with questioning. Nothing at all. I think questioning things is the best thing anybody can do. I mean, I I seen this reel on Instagram and I put over my Chong group. I thought it was hilarious. They had this guy dancing, and he said, "I only get in a white sketchy van if this was," and they had all these dogs, and then he edited it to where obviously dogs weren't in the van, but it was funny because he's dancing and all the dogs. But and I said this would be the only way I got in a sketchy van too. But yeah, you should always question to find out. And if your stomach hurts you or you don't feel something's right, everybody has intuition of some sort. Everybody. I'm not special. I'm not. I'm just one blade of grass on this earth telling you that if your intuition, if you physically don't feel a situation's right, there's something wrong with it. And you need to find a way to get out of it. However, which way you can do it, that's what how you do it. It doesn't matter how you do it, but get out of it. Go by your gut and stay by it and don't be afraid what people say. And if you have to say a Bible verse to get it out, to get out of a situation, do it. If you got to think of happy things to get out of a situation, do that. Whatever works for you. You got to think of a happy event that enlightens your life, that made you feel love, even if it's the memory of your dead mother or your grandmother, to get you out of a bad situation. As long as something triggers love, you can get out of a situation and not give your energy. It just has to, something has to project love. I mean, that's my best advice with that. To me, I just like to hear about the Valley of Darkness. Oh, yes. As my husband says, autistic people are the deepest thinkers. And it was Albert Einstein was autistic. And he actually got bad grades when he was in school, but now he created a new way of doing math. Every autistic person is excels in one area. Mine was words. I like philosophy. That's why I really like to study religion. I love studying religion because I like to know what makes people tick. But I am good at math. I am, but I want to say I wasn't horrible at math, but I wasn't at like a mathematician's level. But I'm very good with words, and I'm very good at recollecting things. But every autistic person has one thing that they're so good at, it's ridiculous. But I lack common sense at the same time. That's why me and my brother from another mother get along. He's slower, but he has common sense, and his dad will let him go long distances with me because I know about money and I'm good at math and he's not. So, and I know what to do if we're in a situation like we got in a car accident and he was freezing up, and I go, call the damn police. And it took me to say it, and I'm the only one allowed to go with him going long distance. But it's hard for me to drive sometimes because I'm not very coordinated. So it has its advantages, but we are deep thinkers. We are some autistic people are some of the deepest thinkers, and they say we overthink. My husband says I tell too much details. That's why I'm a good live streamer. And when he gets home from work, he can't stand all the details. He tells me just to tell him the basics and he's fine with hearing details because he says he's tired of hearing 20 minutes of stuff when he's been at the restaurant hearing people yell all day. And apparently they're mean to people. They're mean to each other in there and they yell at each other and they yell all this random stuff with these orders. But I guess that's the life of a cook. So, but he loves cooking. You get, oh yeah, that happened to me. Oh, hello. Did I miss you at some point? I'm sorry if you had a question. Sometimes I get so many different questions. But yeah, that's why I go through so many details because I'm autistic and I like to when I go and I when I get into a topic, I like to know everything about a topic. When I was newly separated cuz I went 2 years with nobody and did not care after I came out of my first marriage, and I read a book on the entire human brain about the male and female brain and everything to find out about men. I went that deep. And I did learn a lot, but everybody told me I did too much. But I did learn about the human brain, and I tell you, it's a living miracle. Oh, okay. Sometimes I miss people's questions. Okay. Well, I could do pathway reading on him to see what he's doing. I am good at picking up intentions. Yeah, I really bad sometimes. I get so many things going. I've seen some of these Google streamers. I don't know how I'm going to organize that one day. I hope I don't get that big. I've seen them on computer screens with some of them, and they have thousands and thousands of questions. I don't know how they manage that. I hope there's a class in that if I ever get that big. I'm happy just where I'm at. I really am, but people say I might get bigger. You never know. So I don't know. Let's hope I don't because I don't know how I could handle that. My husband said at the time when it gets to that point, maybe that I can, but I don't know. But his path is a full moon in Taurus, where he's at, and this is just means that the dream, just his goals need a practical plan. So whatever, and I feel it's career and money related. So, and I think he's just thinking a little bit too ahead. He's biting off more than he can chew at one time. He's going from step one to step 10 instead of going all in between. And he's surrounded by a new moon in Leo and a full moon in Aquarius. So he has he has low self-confidence. He actually needs more confidence. So that's what I'm picking up, because that's what a new moon in Leo. Because a full moon in Leo means, yeah, you're too much egotistical. This is saying that he has low self-esteem, and that happens. Life beats you up, and he's surrounded by a full moon Aquarius, where he forgot who he was, and he forgot how to love. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's just coming to my head. So I just feel that he has to find himself in that area. I feel that his intentions are good, but because of his low self esteem, he really hasn't tapped into that side. Well, see, that's good. He, but yeah, I think he did. That's all it is. But he has good intentions. But sometimes, you gotta. I believe that he is gonna come around, but he just has to find himself. But there's no other women. I'm not. I feel it's all work and low self esteem issues. So maybe just try to be there for him and tell him you love him and stuff like that. That's what I would do. So, but I hope that was helpful. But what time it is? So I'm gonna end this stream because my husband's actually calling through and it's getting kind of late, anyways. But I'll be on tomorrow, and thank you guys so much for your subscription. And I really appreciate all of you guys. So, and I appreciate everyone that cares about animals and human beings. And hopefully, I can get this dog village, and maybe we can start a little homeless shelter that helps people get on their feet too. Maybe I can help the animals and people together. So, all the subscriptions is going to that one day. I know I'm a little ahead of myself, but one day I would like this to go there, but we'll see if I ever get big enough. But thank you so much, and I love all you guys. You guys are just very awesome, and I love you.